Hi, hello, I'm Katie. I'm in search of the perfect vlogging camera. Today we're talking about the Canon G7X Mark II. Now, I'm trying to decide, is this the vlogging camera for me? Is it the vlogging camera for you? I don't know, let's get into it. All right, we're gonna talk pros and cons to this camera. I took this camera for a spin with my friend Halat. This is actually hers. She was gracious enough to let me borrow it, and I wanna talk about my thoughts. First, we're going to talk specs. This shoots full HD, which is 1920 by 1080. The highest frame rate will be 60 frames per second, and that's for video. Honestly, all I'm looking at is for video. That's all I really care about. Fortunately, it does take an SD card, which I have a million of those, so it's always nice to not have to get a different type of card, you know, like a CF card, a CFast card, because that can get really expensive really quickly when all of my other cameras use SD cards. For context, for my work, I use two Canon R6s with EF and RF lenses, which I love, but it's way too bulky for everyday vlogging, and so I'm in search of something lighter, but can deliver on some really great quality video. Okay, let's talk about the pros. It's lightweight. I have a super lightweight tripod that I like to bring with me every day, and fortunately this was able to sit on top of it without the tripod moving or me feeling like it was gonna topple over, because that can just get really scary when your camera that costs a lot of money is about to like hit the pavement. So that's a huge pro. You can just stick this in a bag, bring it everywhere, which is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a vlogging camera. One thing I also noticed is that the internal stabilization is really good. The B-roll that I like to capture, I typically will like move around a little bit, and what I find in general is having a heavier camera helps in compensating for some internal stabilization, especially when you're not shooting on a gimbal, which for everyday vlogging, am I carrying around a gimbal? No. So I find that this does that work internally really well. And I thought the B-roll looked really good. Okay, let's talk about the cons. The first big con for me, and kind of, I don't really know what to make of it, but I find it really weird that there's not a record button on the front or on the top or somewhere a little bit more easily accessible than this one record button on the back. Now, I tried using this top shutter button a couple times to see if that was going to trigger the video, but it wouldn't. It would just take a still, and they look really scary, so ugh. Probably shouldn't put that on the internet, but whatever. When you're vlogging like this and the camera's looking directly at you, it's just hard to get around and try to feel around in there for that record button. And I just find that that's just like a weird functionality to not have, especially on a camera that's marketed for vloggers. It also doesn't record in 4K. For a lot of people, that's not going to be a deal breaker, but I definitely want all of my footage to be in 4K. So for me, it's kind of like, is it worth it to not have that? I don't know. Also, the wide angle is not as wide as I'd like it to be. You can see here in this video, I set this up on a tripod. I just wanted to get like a little fit check situation. I was surprised at how far back I had to place my tripod in order to get my whole body in the shot. I mean, I was shooting horizontally as opposed to vertically. Obviously, in a vertical video, it's gonna be a lot easier to get your full body in it. But in this horizontal video, my camera was pretty far away from me. And so I looked it up. The wide angle lens is the equivalent of a 24mm, which is good. Like, that's a good wide angle. But if I'm filming like this all the time, in my brain, I'm like, why isn't this an 18mm? I just think that they would give a wider angle option. So overall, I did like this. I'm not wowed by it, and maybe that's because I'm used to shooting on my Canon R6s, and I just love the way that the videos look on those, and relatively speaking, they're pretty low maintenance. I'm not shooting on, you know, Red Dragons or Aries or those like intense cinema cameras. And so I think honestly, maybe I just need to lower my expectations, but I don't know. For the functionality of like looking for a vlogging camera, particularly it not having an easily accessible record button, I just felt like that was weird. I felt like it was weird. Am I the only one? Am I totally off base with that? I don't know. So I would say if you're the type of person who is just getting into vlogging, or you want a really good, easy photo camera to take around with you, this takes great photos. I am not sold on it for vlogging for me or for you. I think there is something better out there. We're just gonna have to do a little comparison because price-wise, that's where I think things kind of might get dicey. So I'm gonna kind of take you guys on this journey with me, and I'm excited. Let me know if you have a recommendation for a good vlogging camera that I should try. Please comment it down below, because you know I'm gonna be on the interwebs looking for my next little camera to try out. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any other kind of tech gear you'd like an approachable review to, you know, if you're a content girly, you're trying to get into the content game, this is the channel for you. I'm gonna be looking for the perfect vlogging camera and sharing that journey, as well as little tidbits of my life as a video editor who works on commercials. Okay, that's it for me, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye. I swear if that was all out of focus, I'm gonna lose my mind.